Hi, welcome back. Today I'm going to show you how to personalize faux fur material using your Cricut machine and heat press. Stay tuned to find out how I done this water bottle using Cricut Design Space. So firstly, you need to measure whatever you are planning to put your vinyl on to ensure you can put the right dimensions on Cricut Design Space. So just use my ruler here to get the length and the width, and then I open up my Cricut Design Space. And then go into text onto Cricut Design Space and type in whatever text you want by pressing the backspace key. I'm going to put in TO, and then you go to font and find out what font you want to. You can browse through, or however you can also type in the font you're looking for. I wanted to do Cloud9, so I search for the Cloud9 font. Cloud9 is a lovely font because it is curvative, but yet it's still quite bulky. It's not too elegant, so this was perfect for the creation I wanted to do. I then drag my box to the dimensions that I measured previously to make sure I can get the correct size vinyl printed. So on the taskbar, you can press this padlock key if you want to open up your text box so you can pull it in any dimension that you need. Some people like this, some people don't. A negative is that it can distort your text if you don't pull it correctly. Because I've been doing this for a while and figured out a way to do it that it won't distort your text. You just have to try and pull it in increments so your text does stay in similar dimensions to as it should be. So there we go. So as it is a curvative font, you have to remember to press weld. So just at the bottom here, you've got the weld function. This ensures there are no gaps in between each of your letters, because the Cricut will cut it out if you don't weld your whole text. So no lines, no gaps. I'm happy with everything, and I just go to make it to start to make my design. As I'm using heat transfer vinyl, you have to remember to mirror, because heat transfer vinyl prints on the mirrored side. So turn on my mirror, and then I just go to continue. So once the Cricut is connected, it's time to set your material, your cut setting. I'm using iron-on. I've got a Cricut Explorer Air 2, so I'm just turning my dial to get the correct cut setting. If you've got a maker, you can find your cut settings. Everything's looking good. Here's my vinyl. It's always shiny side down with heat transfer vinyl. You can look at both sides. You can see this side's a lot more matte. The other side was more shiny. I lay it down as accurately as I can, what it was showing me on Cricut Design Space. If you do get any air bubbles, either use your brayer tool to press them out, or you can just like lift it up again and re-lay it down so there are no air bubbles. You need to ensure there are no air bubbles because it will affect your cut. So this brayer tool, I love it. I'll put it in the description if you do want to get it. I go and press my Cricut, start cutting, and the magic begins to happen. There you can see my Cricut has cut it all out. I'm going in with my weeding tool. This is the Nikapa weeding tool, which I've got from Amazon. I'll link this in the description as well. It is very sharp. I do like it. I've used other weeding tools that are not as sharp, but this one is quite sharp. I've cut around the image slightly to make it easier to weed. I usually start from one corner, and because this heat transfer vinyl is really thick, I use my hand to rip it off. Because I've got the correct cut setting, it's so much easier to come off. This vinyl, even though it's thick and it's hard to weed, but when you press it onto anything, it is amazing. It's the Zwanza brand. I will link that in the description as well. As you can see, I'm struggling here to pull it off, but it is worth it in the long run because this vinyl presses like a dream. Once that's done, I use my weeding tool, go back in with my weeding tool to pick out the inner letters of the E and the O as well. So all we did, all done, there you go. Doesn't it look beautiful? This font is really, really nice. So now I'm going to get prepared to put it onto my Faux fur material. Fur material can be very tricky, but I'm going to show you a few tricks that help it stick a lot better to the material. So once you've lined it up, make sure you use a lint roller. I did use one before to pick up any stray pieces of fluff or any dirt or anything that may be put in. Put the fur towards the grain, so make sure you pull it all downwards as you saw me doing, and lay on your heat transfer vinyl exactly where you want it to go. Once the vinyl is in the correct place, I go in with my Cricut mini press. My mini press is set on the second setting. When using this mini press, you need to make sure that you stay within the vinyl, within your protective sheet to protect the material. If you don't feel as confident just staying on the protective sheet, it is hard to get the edges. You can use this paper here, this Teflon sheet. I've got these from Amazon as well. You can just use greaseproof paper as well. It will do the same thing by protecting anything underneath and still allowing you to apply heat onto your heat transfer vinyl. So once I've pressed it, I wait for it to cool down completely. This is a cold peel vinyl. If you're using faux fur or any type of furry material, it is better to get the cool peel vinyl. I'm using those ones as I mentioned before. I will put it in the description box of the one that I'm using. So I'll just leave that for a good about 2 to 5 minutes using the back of my hand or the front of my palm to feel if it has cooled down. I'm just admiring this font. This just looks so beautiful already. So now here comes to I think the trickiest part is when you actually have to peel off the cover sheet. So when you peel off the cover sheet, it may not work the first time and you do have to be quite patient on it. So it is cool. I'm peeling it here, but you can see it's not lifting. It's quite tricky because of how it's furry. So just try all 4 sides. When I do this, it's usually always the side that will peel a bit easier, and it's usually the thicker sides. Here I can see it's kind of coming off, so it's stuck onto your fur, so don't worry, you're not going to rip it off. So I just hold down the vinyl and peel as I go along. It is a lot more trickier than when you do a regular heat transfer press, like on a normal cotton jumper. It is a bit trickier, but if you just pull it, it is adhered onto the fur. So don't worry if you pull it, it won't rip off. And it's one of the reasons I use a bit of a bulkier font as well, not a font that is too thin, just in case it does rip. So once we're done, it comes off nice and easily, as you can see, and that vinyl is totally adhered to the furry material. So there we go. So what I do, last final press. If you're using a heat press, you can. Because I have the water bottle inside, I didn't want to use the heat press. So I just go over with my Teflon sheet and my mini press using firm pressure just to make sure it is a lot more seamless. If anything did lift, it will fully adhere. And there we go. It looks so beautiful, and I know this person will like this gift. So thank you for watching. And on a side note, if you do want to learn how to layer heat transfer vinyl, I'm going to put that video in the description on how to layer if you had a few different layers of heat transfer vinyl. Don't forget to click onto my links and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Like this video if it's something that is going to help you as well. I would appreciate that. Follow me on TikTok and Instagram where I give short Cricut tips. Bye.